What up, people? My name is Lewis Lee, and I'm from All Ins Media and Magazine, and this is Playing in Traffic. And if you haven't heard, we do this every Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time every week. We have special guests come on. We have companies, distributors, anything to do with automotive. So if you have any friends that are into automotive, or if you are, check us out. Check out our social media. We have Facebook, Playing in Traffic. We have YouTube, Playing in Traffic. And we have a website, www.playingintraffic.com. So become a member so you can get all the notifications and good stuff, everything that we have going on. And I'd like to thank everybody in the chat room for showing up. We have some dedicated folks that hang out with us every week. We got a special guest coming on tonight. He's getting logged in. Ed Golden from Golden Customs out of New York. So when he comes on, he'll be here in a few minutes. And let's see who we got going on here. We have Papa Squirrel. Hello, Papa Squirrel. Jim. John Day from Canada, as Lou would say. We got Brian, Chassis John. What's up, fellas? We'll have Ray from Motormouth Radio. He should be here in a little bit. All right, here's Ed. I'm going to let him in. So, fellas, anything good happening this week in the automotive world? Ed's on his way in. Then we can start the show. Hey, Ed.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing?
Good.
I'm getting an echo.
Yeah, do you have two windows open with?
Hold on. Oh, I do.
I think you kicked the stuff out. Yeah, he bounced out, I think. Can we re-invite him in?
Now?
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds good.
What's up, buddy?
Oh, man, just getting ready for SEMA. Getting my head ready to spin off. What about you?
Yeah, going crazy. We got a lot of stuff I want to get done before we leave.
Yeah.
So it's been like crazy late nights and it's just nuts.
Yeah. Are you taking anything out there?
No, we actually had to put off. Well, we have another project for next year as of right now. And there's a couple things that might be happening that kind of mean I have to like really hustle, up until now, like what I'm doing now in order to take an opportunity, because we might be doing some TV stuff. And if that happens, I mean, aside from like what we're doing our own stuff, we may have something that's kind of big, but it's not 100% yet. But if it happens, I have to have some things out of the way. You know, I can't just be like, hey, I'm doing some TV stuff and everybody else has to wait, so it's, but I honestly, I'm a little happier about it because there were some things I wanted to do with the car that I'm building for myself. And I kind of felt like I didn't have the time, and I'm kind of getting to that age where I don't want to be super, super rushed. And there was a couple things I was going to do for this year and then bring it back next year, kind of revised a little. So I figure if we're bringing this other truck down there, we're going to, go with two vehicles. So, it might be easier. But again, you seem as a blast, can't wait to see everybody. And, it's still a big hurdle because not being in the shop, but like I was just working like 2 seconds before I, came up here to do the podcast. And I'll be working for hours after we're done with this podcast. So it's, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm gonna relax a little bit this year at SEMA. I'm gonna really go around and just meet people that I've met here on the show, and through other avenues. So I'm trying to just really socialize with people I haven't seen in person.
Yeah, it's great. Well, that's what's wonderful about SEMA, and like it's funny how SEMA and how SEMA and Facebook and Instagram and all these things kind of work hand in hand. Like there were a handful of people I didn't know. Like I knew them. I felt like I knew them well. Yeah. But then I meet them at SEMA and shake their hand, and then they kind of go from being a contact to like a real friend. You know what I mean? Which is cool. Yeah. And I love being around people that are like-minded. A lot of people get really competition and they get like messed up when they go to SEMA because they see other people's stuff. Oh, I apologize so much. I'm so sorry.
No, you're right.
That was my buddy DJ Conti calling me. Kid it works.
Hey, we're live. That's how it goes.
I know. Live. Gotcha. I only keep it on just in case there's an emergency with the house.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
I'm just trying. I don't even know how to lower my phone. Hold on. Give me 3 seconds here.
All right.
So that's what's excellent about SEMA. You like deal with people so much, and then you put a face to the name, or sometimes you haven't even seen the face. Mm-hmm. Like I'll have someone walk up to me and be like, Ed, and I'm like, who are you? Like, oh, I'm from. Oh my God, and I talk to this person for hours. So yeah. And again, like with what you guys have been doing and everything with the show, it's to me, you shed a lot of light on interesting people around the industry. So it's cool to to make, they're going to be at SEMA. Let's stop and take a few minutes and say hello and do all that. So
yeah.
And I'm excited to see the guys, Nelson and Tim from Hushmat. We're going to kind of be bouncing back and forth between those two guys and all the other companies we have relationships with. It's really fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is. And you get to meet people on their laid back version. You know what I mean? They're not trying to sell you anything. They're not,
Sometimes. Yeah. Like for me, when we went with the Dave Turton truck, I didn't have a second to breathe. We were like running through SEMA, back and forth, go here, meet the person, interview. So it was like the opposite of that for me. So this year is going to be nice to be able to do what you said, like stop and like kind of smell the roses a little bit, and like I never get a chance to look at any new products or any new tools. Like I'm usually running through SEMA, and it's like I run past something and I'm like, oh, I wanted to see that, but I guess I'll come back later. Yeah. Which, that never really happens,
Yep. I hear you. I'm usually when I go out with the magazine, my camera guy, he would go and do all the shooting, so I would even miss a lot of the cars. And when I get home,
see all the cars though. You can't see them all.
Yeah, when I get home, I'll see something on Facebook, and I'm like, wow, I wonder if I got a picture of that. And I'll go look, and I got a picture of it, but, I didn't know I had it.
It's funny to me because we'll be at SEMA, and you think you've been through every room, you get around the show at least as much as you can. And then I'll go on, and watch a video afterwards, and I'll see cars. I'm like, I didn't even see that car. Like, where was that car? These are monster cars, So it's a big thing. Yeah. So how's everything now? You've changed a little bit of the show changed a little bit recently. How's that going?
Going good. It's a challenge getting guests on because it schedules. You know what I mean? Everybody's busy.
Yeah.
So when I can get people on, we get on. If not, me and Ray will just talk car stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, we have people jump in from the chat room. And, we just keep it moving. Cool.
Yeah, we usually have no shortage of something to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've been listening to you guys for a while, and I remember when it was like a bunch and, and then when you guys scaled it down a little bit, to be honest, I kind of enjoyed it more when it was like, 4 or 5 guys rather than, because jumping around was kind of confusing, which is cool. It's still a car conversation. It kind of reminded me of sitting in my garage with 6 of my buddies.
Yep.
And just talking, but now you don't have to do that,
that's what we've always said. And I always say my radio show is the same thing. I tell people it's like we're sitting around a shop bench and we're just talking about cars, and on the radio we just can't curse or drink beer because they won't.
We can't curse,
but not there.
Yeah, we can do it here though.
Stick up to that.
There we can because we got the FCC over our heads.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I remember when I met you and Lou at the first SEMA at Nelson's booth, and it was so cool, you know. And then like we had a chance to meet a little, and we talked about doing the show, and then you know time went on, and then you know I came on the first time, and it was just it's cool, man. You guys were, you know, it was fun to you know just to be a part of it. You know, the whole community. That's what's so great about SEMA. You know, you shake hands with people and. You know, you kind of everyone's going in the same direction. You know, everyone kind of has the same goal. What I like about SEMA is it's not just like an old car show and a new car show. You know, it's like everything. You really see like you'll see lowriders, you'll see hot rods, you'll see rat rods, you'll see trucks. You know, and trucks and trucks and trucks. So that's one of our challenges. We're building we're building an F-150 that's lifted. It's going to have a huge lift. But I think we're going to go to SEMA with something that in like a flooded market, like that lifted truck thing is so crazy. It's funny when I was walking through with Dave Turin and we had his, you know, the utility truck there, the gold mining truck. And he said, there's so many trucks here.
Luis, better watch it. You're going to get some bad ideas seeing all those lowriders. I know
Did you guys hear that or was that just me?
No, I heard it.
Yeah, it's like a train went through.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
You know, and Dave said to me, he said, "Isn't it? You know, is it like they're nice, but all these trucks look alike, even though they're different." You know, and so I'm kind of like going at the approach, like, how do I take a lifted truck and bring it to SEMA and have it stand out? And we're doing some really interesting, different stuff. But for me, it's like another. Like I never like to stay in my comfort zone. I never really built a big lifted truck before. But again, I mean, I go back to it's like it's metal, it's glass, it's you know what I mean? Like it's just materials.
How high,
you know,
how high you going with that truck, Ed?
If I told you, you probably wouldn't believe me. It's already lifted pretty high now. I'm actually doing it in conjunction with my buddy Jason Hayskamp. He has the shop and he does a lot of like diesel stuff and lifts and dualies and track bar. He does all this truck stuff. He used to work for me for a little bit. Now he has his own thing. So you know, he kind of came back to me like, hey, let's do this together. So he's basically going to be doing the frame and the lift. But from what I understand, we're going to have a big lift, then with an air ride from there. So it's going to go from like big to bigger.
Wow.
The cool thing about it is it's going to have like a theme. I really can't give it away now, but it's for a kid. I shouldn't say kid, a young man, real cool kid. And he's got a family business and it's going to be his truck, but there's going to be a little bit of the truck that like kind of gives back to the business so they can take it somewhere and like use it as a marketing vehicle if they wanted to. So, but it's going to be really cool. Like there's going to be some really interesting things. Like we like, for me, you know, sometimes you just build cars, you paint a car color, you put an interior, you do a system. And then sometimes you get that special request or that special thing. And like, you know it when you see it or you feel it. I guess I don't know how to really explain that, but I just know when we're getting those good ideas together and I know it's going to turn into something special. Now I could see that further away. So I'm excited about it. And my car too is going to be crazy. So between those two for SEMA, I mean, I'm working on them now, and I'm worried about the deadline for next year. You know, so
I tell you what, the deadlines come quick, man. I was going to try to get my car done for this year, but man, it blew by so fast.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough.
It's with tough. Everyday life, and I'm not in the actual industry of building, so I'm working and then trying to build, you know, my own thing. So it goes out of whack.
Well, sometimes, listen, I mean, like sometimes that's the best thing to do. Like I have an S10 at home with small block and it's, you know, I work here, you know, crazy hours sometimes and, or a lot of times. And then when I get home, you know, I'm like, do I want to work on my own car? You know, like the SEMA thing kind of forces me to work on my own project. You know, because it's like, I don't have any rules with that. But, you know, sometimes it's nice to have a different, even though, you know, what you might do during the day may have some, like I know you do the magazine, you do this, you do a lot of stuff, but not to be physically working on a car all day and then have to go work on a car later is just like, you know.
Yeah. Different mode.
Yeah. I actually going to start a magazine. I've been like putting it off. I had a magazine together for like probably 7 years. I had issues done and everything, and it was just kind of like a pet project just for fun. And I was like, I really should just do something with it. And I just like, I'm so busy, like, it's ridiculous to think to add something to my plate, but I love the idea of it. It's just cool, but it's kind of like what this is, this is capturing people in the industry and highlighting them. And that's what I like about like magazines or podcasts or,
Yeah. You're focusing on different aspects of the industry. Yeah. It's really a fulfilling feeling.
Yeah. I like shining light on people when I can, like I've been lucky. I've done a few cool things, and I've had some people, go out of their way to kind of showcase a little bit of what I do. And I think about like how important that was. Like I remember my first magazine thing. When I say magazine thing, you'll know right away when I tell you. My Mustang was in Lowrider magazine, but it was in Reader's Ride section. Like you send in a picture.
Yeah.
So the kids from my school sent a picture in, and then we heard like, oh, you're going to be in Lowrider magazine, and they got back to us with something, I think, and I couldn't believe it. And then when I actually opened up the magazine, and my car was like, like that big, right? And I was so thrilled. I bought like 8 copies of it, and that was kind of like the beginning of it. And it's like fun to like a lot of people try to act like they don't enjoy the accolades or they don't enjoy the like when somebody pats you on the back for something you love doing, and it's like weird to accept it because I feel like once you start liking that too much, you're destined to shit the bed, but it's nice, man. I was like tickled pink. I remember coming home like, hey mom, check this out. This is my car, Lowrider magazine. Then I was talking shit to all my friends. I'm like, you can't even talk to me until you get into Lowrider. This is funny.
Yeah, that's a great feeling, I tell you.
Yeah, it's cool. And
you can stay humble.
Like this big, but I was like, oh, Ed Golden's Mustang, my Mustang had hydros in it, had 812s. It was like it was cool, and that was like my guinea pig car. Like I painted that car like probably 4 times, and like all my neighbors can, tell you like 1 week the car was blue, and you know what I mean. All my cars, like so.
Hey, that's you're learning pod.
Yeah, everything was though. To me, once I was done with a car, like I was done physically doing what I could do on it, then I was done with it. I didn't want it. I don't care if I sold it. Usually I would just sell them, which was frustrating in a way because like you work on something for so long and then it goes. But once I was done doing what I was going to do, I was bored with it.
Yeah.
Even when we were winning shows with cars, I was like, oh yeah, but now I don't have the money available to buy something else to start another project. So that was kind of how it went, but I don't have any regrets. I've done some great things and some shitty things. I messed up and made my mistakes, and
Yeah. Well, you don't learn if you don't make a mistake.
No, that'd be funny if you had a magazine that just everybody's mistakes was in, like nobody's good work, just everything they screwed up.
Yeah,
it would be like a Bible, like this thick.
I might do that. No, that's a good idea.
You should put a section in for like the worst of the worst, but it has to be like the people themselves have to bring it forward. Like, well, like we used to have a wall we still kind of have a history of mess ups at this shop, but in Nanuet, in our first shop, we had like things you could screw to the wall. So like my friend was like a motorcycle stunt guy and he crashed a bike in front of my shop. So we took the clutch handle and screwed it to the wall, like things to just remember like what you screwed up, which I think is important because it keeps you level headed,
It sure does.
Like you're human. Like, Chip Foose messes things up. I mean, everyone has their mistakes, so I don't think you're ever going to get to a point where you're, you have to be pushing yourself, like you said, you have to make the mistakes to be going far enough to be, pushing that envelope.
Yep. That's true. Chassis John said he jumps up and down when he got in a magazine, had bought 10 copies.
Oh yeah, I still do. I still get like we're in a newspaper a lot locally. Like we've been in the newspaper. Donna Kessler, who we were starting to do the podcast, but it was weird getting some local guests. We're waiting on a couple people, but we did the podcast with Paul Senior. He came in and me and Donna did it. Donna's like Donna Kessler was someone I heard about when I was like an hour away from here, and like one of my friends like, you need to meet her. She's she's like the Pope of the car world, but she doesn't know it. Like she doesn't act like it, but she's like, I couldn't wait to meet her. My friend's like, you're gonna love her. And then when I met her, I'm like, I love this lady. We got along so good. So we started doing a podcast, and we're gonna get back on it, together. And but she put me in the newspaper a bunch of times, and I still get excited about it. It still feels good. I think when it doesn't, you're done, right? Like if you do something and you get a magazine cover, or you get a newspaper, or you get a TV show, and you're not excited about it, it's time to do something that excites you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Life's too short to not. I think like if this ever got where I hated it, I would build birdhouses. I always say birdhouses because I think when I get old and start losing a little, I'm just going to be put in the garage and build little birdhouses.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, whatever. But like I said, I see what you do with the leather. Like I don't know if I think we talked about it last time briefly. Like I bought a leather kit. Like not like I have enough things to try to do, but I was just so interested, and I got caught in the YouTube loop, where you just start watching something, and I was like, I'm gonna do that. And I opened it up and I looked at all the tools, and then I put it into like its own case, and I haven't touched it since.
Yeah.
So
one day, you might jump on it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I got so many hobbies, man. My wife's like, oh, what's he going to do now? I like guns. I like leather. I like computers, cameras, any gadget. You know what I mean? I like to play with everything, man. So.
Yeah. That's what life's about, though,
Yeah.
You gotta have fun. Like it's funny for me when business started really getting crazy and like all this TV stuff was happening and everything. I stopped all my hobbies. Like I stopped fishing. I love freshwater fishing. Like ridiculously, I spent like half my life fishing. And I remember I went fishing one day and I wasn't even enjoying myself because I was so worried about the shop. And then finally I was like, my buddy Nick Marconi. Me and him started fishing together, and like I kind of had to force myself the first few times because I used to get anxious being in the boat because I couldn't work. Right? I was like in a boat, and then at first I was on my phone every 5 seconds trying to do work. So it took me a little while to put the phone down and enjoy it. And now that I have my daughter, I can stop and I go fishing with her, and I'm starting to enjoy it again. But if you just work, because the stress that comes with it, like how much fun it is, really doesn't matter. Like you could have. Like I like to think like I kind of invented the perfect job for myself. So I really don't feel like I'm working, even though it's stressful and I'm aggravated sometimes. And, customers are customers. I still love it, but, I don't know. It's
yeah. You're freeze?
We're still there?
Yeah. Yeah, we got
okay,
you.
I thought I lost you. You guys went solid for a second over here.
Yeah, I feel you, man. When life takes over, and you get away from your hobbies, man, it's it's stressful because yep.
I shot a couple guns, but like Justin's real into guns, and I went to the range and I enjoyed it, but not like to the point where I was gonna go buy some crazy, like I don't know. I think fishing and my boat makes me really happy. So that's really what screws me up with my truck, because my S10 sitting in the garage, if I didn't have that boat, that thing would be running. But every time I think about working on the S10, I'm like, well, the boat floats. Let's go, get on the boat.
Yeah, the boat's in the front.
Yeah.
Yep. Ray got a lot of stuff going on too. He's into motorcycles and electronics and stuff too, right?
Absolutely. And working at the shop and trying to squeeze in family stuff. Yeah, it gets to be a chore sometimes. It's tough. It's time management, and then there's only so many hours in a day. You come home and you gotta crash, So
yeah,
it can be tough.
I figured out a secret. What I do sometimes when I can is I'll come in early, kind of like what the Italians do, and I'll go back home for a few hours when my daughter gets out of school, and I'll spend a little bit of time with her. And then, I'll go back to the shop and work late, which is nice because, like, if I leave early and I come home late, she's like, I missed the whole day with her. And, like, I don't, like, none of this is anywhere near as important as the time I can spend with my daughter, So,
yeah,
that's kind of exactly what I do. Like now, this semester at the school, I'm working on a Tuesday night. So I'm close enough I'm only 7 miles away from home. So I actually leave in the afternoon, come home, and I'll be home for a couple hours, and then go back at night.
Mhm.
And this way, it's kind of like, for me, it's just because I've been doing it for so many years. It's just a clock reset. Because you stay there for so long, you kind of burn out. So it just resets the clock, you know. And the other thing I found that really helps me out that I did today is a little afternoon nap, and I do it right in my office. I
It's funny.
20 minutes, man. It's and I
funny.
feel great.
I was just gonna say that it's funny how a little nap, and it depends how sleep deprivated you are. Like we did, we were trying to get my car ready for a show in Florida, and I literally had to work 3 solid days, like 72 hours, whatever it is, like 3 days straight, and like a 5-minute nap, literally like 5 minutes, and I would say like, okay, wake me up in 5 or 10 or 15, say 15 minutes, wake me up in 15 minutes, but don't forget to wake me up. Yeah. And in 15 minutes, I felt like I slept all night. Like I get up and I'll feel super recharged with like $1 million. Yeah. The funny thing about that was when we got the car done, I put the last piece on the car as it was getting pulled up into the trailer. Like literally like one more piece, got it on, the car's done. And then I couldn't fall asleep. I was And it was funny because a friend of mine, we had like a little bullshit challenge, this kid Chris, and we were competing because he was building a car for another company and I was building my car. We were in the same town, and a lot of people put us against each other. And he showed up when we were putting the car in a trailer, and he was like, "What the? Like, I can't believe what you pulled off. This thing's amazing." And I was like, "Listen, dude, thank you." He loved the car, and his car wasn't done yet, and I like felt bad, like even though we were competing and we were talking nonsense to each other. Like when he couldn't do it, I felt like shit. And I was like, dude, let's go to your house and finish the truck now. Like I'm awake. I could keep going like this for a few more days. Like let's do 2 days, get your car done and get it down to Florida. Then the only reason we couldn't do it is someone had robbed his truck and stole the amplifiers out of it. And he was just defeated like in his personal truck. So it was like a perfect storm. Yeah. But sometimes that 5-minute nap will treat you really good,
Yeah. Give you a reset. Mine's like a 15-minute. Like I can.
Realistically 15,
20.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I find that if I sit like in a somewhat uncomfortable position, something that I know is going to be uncomfortable for a long haul, it forces you to not sleep for like 3 hours.
Yeah. So, when we did the Dave Turn truck, for 17 SEMA, we were sleeping in cardboard boxes around the shop. You'd think somebody came in and just shot us dead. But I mean, like a cardboard box after not sleeping for 3 days. And I thought I could handle it because I've done it before a handful of times. But this last time was so brutal. I mean, like, an hour in a box, it felt like the nicest mattress I've ever slept on in my life,
I'll say it. You're probably a little older this time than you were the last time you did that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, well, it was funny. The first time when we did the Flex thing, that was a 6-week build. That was ESPN and all that. I was like much heavier. I was like, geez, almost 270 something, 80 pounds. I realized I was diabetic during that build. I was drinking the vitamin water energies, like the yellow. They're like pineapple-y. They're the best thing in the world, and they gave me a little bit of a jolt. I don't know what they had in it, but it was almost like, for me, like a cup of coffee and a ton of sugar. And I was drinking like 10 or 12 a day. And I started feeling like dizzy. And obviously I was like, my sugar was probably, even before the roof.
Yeah.
And then I started getting like that. I don't know if any of you guys have any sugar issues, but when your sugar gets really high, you get like a cotton mouth type of taste in your mouth. And so instead of me drinking water, I went and drank orange juice and apple juice, like something really sharp to kind of get rid of that taste in my mouth. And then like I almost passed out. So during that TV show, and they never put any of that in. I'm surprised, but I didn't faint, but I was like, the couch wasn't there. I was going down anyway, right? Yeah. So I went to the doctor. My sugar was like 450. He was like, "What in the world are you doing?" And I explained to him like it's probably really high because I drank like a liter of orange juice and a liter, but it was still,
Yeah.
So from there, I didn't really take the advice that great, but I very slowly have got my sugar down, and I've been a little bit better, and I've been dieting and losing weight and kind of yo-yoing a little bit. But, that 20, I was working like 20, 22 hours every single day for 6 weeks.
Wow. Yeah.
So you talk about taking those 2-hour nap, like an hour here, an hour there, half hour here. It was like I would fall asleep in the car. If I was Then put my head down, and I would be napping.
Yeah.
And then be like, wake up, oh, how long have I been out for? Oh my God, I panic,
Yeah. So I got a question for you with your Mustang when you did the hydraulics.
Yes.
I'm building my car to be a lowrider, but
Okay.
I've been kind of back and forth on the air ride and the hydraulics. What are your opinions? I know you work with both.
I do both. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I like hydraulics probably more than most people. I designed a lot of. I did cars that people said really couldn't do. Like I did a lot of front wheel drive setups that people said were impossible, or the ideas that a lot of these big companies had to do strut cars.
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought the same thing until I went through trial and error and had a bunch of problems and leaks and everything. The downside with hydraulics for me is like I had my Mustang. That thing might as well came factory with the hydros. I had the red styling pumps. I don't know if you remember them, but they were the red pumps with the 2 dumps on top. It was all inside the block. All the valves and everything was internal, and it was super clean. And that's how I was able to put them in the back. I had a pump and 4 batteries and a pump, and then I had 8 12s inside, where the seat would be and everything else. The problem with hydraulics is the danger factor is like you're dealing with, sometimes 48 volts, which if something goes wrong, like I'll give you an example. I sold the car to a kid, and that car worked bulletproof. I never replaced solenoids. I blew one pump head only because some kid asked me to put the car up in the air when my oil was dirty. I knew it was going to happen. It happened. But the kid I sold the car to, the first day he had it, he melted American zero gauge wire like that thick and 3 batteries. Because, I told him like tap, tap, tap the car up. Don't like hold it because you got a lot of voltage there to do damage.
Yeah.
So the kid called me. The father was involved. He was all upset. And I said, listen, I'll gladly, because the car was from far away. So I said, I'll gladly get on the phone with your mechanic, explain to him how to fix it. But I want you to be honest with me so your father doesn't think I sold you something that had a problem. And the kid and his father was on the phone, and he goes, well, I let my little sister play with the switch box, and she just,
Yeah.
Usually there's a gear between the pump and the motor. Usually that'll break when you hit like the end and you can't go anymore. Usually that'll snap, but it didn't. And then what happens when it doesn't, that power backs up through the power wire into the batteries and everything. So hydraulics has more of a chance to be scary. Like I used to mess with my friends, and I'd kind of just tap the ground when I was hitting the switches, and it would spark all in the car and scare the shit out of everybody, So, and then when you break a line, like if you break a line inside a car, it's
oil.
It's like forget about it. As a matter of fact, the first time I used my hydros, I had my 2 friends, my friend Mike and Kevin, and they were looking in. Like I had an S10, they were both looking in the side where the cylinders were. And like I got this kit, it looked like somebody drew the instructions with crayon. Like I didn't know shit about what I was doing. I just got lucky. The first time I put it together was right. But I thought in my head, like you got to bleed the cylinder a little bit, right? You would think like a brake or something. So I left the cylinders a little bit loose. And you got to remember, I have 4 batteries. I had my friends literally with their head inside the engine bay. And I hit the front pump. And all I see from me, because the hood's up, all I see is just oil just
no.
To my garage, I had a big 2-car garage. There was oil everywhere they weren't. Like everywhere it did hit them, it hit everything else. They were covered in hydraulic oil, 30 weight. So, it's dirty. Like when shit goes wrong, it's a messy thing. What I like about it, and when you're dead with batteries, you're dead in the water. You know what I mean? You're just dead. Now, you can always have a jump pack and get yourself up if you're not leaking and, so air ride's cleaner, but for me, air ride, if you don't have, a lot of compressors, like when we did the flex truck, we took the AC compressor and we ran it. And then we also had an electric system that jumped in if that didn't work, but it would fill the bags up like super quick. Probably wouldn't. We had some recirculating stuff for the AC to keep it lubricated, but I don't know how long it was going to last like that, but it worked like hell in the beginning. So like I hate waiting for airbags because hydraulics, like if you got power, it's just boom. It's right
there.
Yeah. But a lot of people have problems and they won't charge their batteries. Like I had one kid that probably bought like the solenoids, the little solenoids you use to actually fire the pump.
Yeah.
When you get low on voltage, they shit the bed because they get confused, they get sticky, and then you start arcing them. And that's why you put 3 in a row. So you have 3 all hooked up to the same trigger. So you're in hopes that the second one may stick, but the first one might, but the second one won't,
Yeah.
This kid bought like 30 solenoids. And I said, dude, bring the car to my house. I charge the batteries up full. It works for as many days as it's charged. And then he goes back to messing them up because he would put it on a battery charger for like 20 minutes. And I'm like, these are marine deep cycle batteries. They need,
fully charged.
So that's the downside, That's the downside. I mean,
plus the weight of the batteries too.
The weight of the batteries, yeah. You got to figure, battery 70 pounds, so you need 4 of them at least.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but I like hydraulics. I like the impact. Now you could still get that with air. But again, it's like if you're comparing a standard hydraulic kit to a standard air ride kit, then I kind of like hydros a little better because they're fast. But if you have a really advanced air ride kit compared to a basic hydraulic setup, then I'd probably rather have air ride.
Right. I'm looking at AccuAir. They seem like they got a pretty nice kit.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of they have now like the smart valves where you could, it'll adjust for leaks and straighten the car out and all that. We're working on a body drop S10 right now that has a full bag setup. That was done it's funny because I get some cars that like some of it's done amazing, and then something else is done like shit. And it's like there had to be 2 different dudes at this shop that built this car 2 different times.
Yeah. So
this car's got air ride, and where actually the truck drops lower than the suspension. So when I put the truck on my lift, the whole truck will drop past the lift if I let it, and then it starts doing damage to the body. And the whole body they have a scrape bar, but so what we did now is one of the things we're doing is we're putting new gauges and new valves and all that. And we're also putting in bump stops for the, for the rear and for the front. So, I mean, it's only going to be like that high off the ground, but at least the truck will rest.
Yeah.
You're not hitting like all the fender wells and everything. So, I like hydros, like I said, I designed a couple kits and I would send them when I was young. And I would send them to the company like, hey, man, I did this kit for this car, and it works great. No leaks. Like, total different way, outside of the box way of doing struts. And I would basically build the strut from scratch. I had adjustments in it and stuff. And I had special fittings I would use so they could swivel without breaking the seal. And then all of a sudden, these hydraulic companies would start having people call me. They're like, do you mind if you just start doing designs for people's setups? And so that happened. I had people send me the struts, and I would build them. It's a lot of fun, man. Hydraulics are a lot of fun. The first time I saw it, I was like,
you're hooked, huh?
So I was probably one of the first guys in New York. I don't want to say that. Maybe there's somebody in the city that had it before me, but I never heard of anybody anywhere around here before I did it. So.
See, that's the way to here in Ohio. There's a couple guys running them, but
Ohio's crazy.
Nothing
Ohio's
like
crazy,
nothing like California though. They're just on a different level,
Yeah.
So I want to bring that flavor.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. My buddy had a friend with a. These were crazy. I don't even want to say too much, but these guys were like. I saw a video of them hanging out, and he's like, "Oh man, you got to come out here." And I was like, "No, I don't need to do that." Like these guys were just wild. But they had a Civic that used to bunny hop like 2 feet, full bunny hop like on hydros.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
you know what? If the import scene didn't get as big as it did, you would have had hydros from East Coast to West Coast. But the whole Honda tuner scene got hot, and it was a lot easier, a lot less of a commitment to have a car that you could call cool. You could get a Honda with a body kit and a muffler, a little stereo system, some lights, and you could hang out at a car show. Where if you're building a lowrider, you got to have hydros, you got to be dropped. It's funny. We were in Daytona. And we were hanging out with this car club, just these dudes out of Crystals, like a burger place. And they were all real chill, and we all got along really good. We hung out with them. So there was a kid there with a wagon, a brown wagon, factory. I forgot what it was. I wish I could remember. And he's hanging out with us, like, I guess, Friday night. So he comes Saturday night. The thing's got a Target top cut in it. It's got gold Daytons on it. It's got hydros. It's stacked on the ground. Still metal on the seats. Like, they cut the roof. Like, it was still a rough.
Oh, yeah.
Just cruising this this wagon with gold wire wheels, and I was like, that's the coolest car here, as far as I'm concerned. Like, you see all these cars that are, like they're almost like some people. What I like about the lowrider world is it's kind of like, I'm gonna do my thing, my style, my way, and if you like it, great. Maybe not as like that anymore. Now it's like all the cars are patterned the same almost, and it's almost like they copy the same idea. But when I kind of got into the hydro thing, there were people that it wasn't necessarily just lowriders. It was like cars with hydros and really, really heavily customized cars. Yeah. And to me, that's what I like. I like to see something different. It doesn't have to be a BMW or a Mercedes. Like, you could go buy in a Lamborghini, and I'll be like, oh, nice Lamborghini. And then I see this brown wagon go by with the gold wheels. And I'm like, that car got my attention, So kind of like the rat rods now. The rat rods are interesting more than like you walk past a $300,000 Chevelle and go look at a $15,000 rat rod. It's because they're interesting. They're unique.
Yeah, and when you're looking at a rat rod, you're really looking at it to see what you see.
Yeah, everything.
We went
toilet bowl thing.
we went to Welder Up. They had a party last year. Were you there?
No. I heard about there's so many things happening at once.
Yeah, so we're at the party, man, and my wife loves rat rods, and she was looking at. I mean, I almost had to buy her something out of there. She was in it so deep. No, not from Steve. He's kind of expensive. But we were there, man, and just incredible ideas. Like, he has an old car it's an electric car, and it's from the 30s.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
So he put in electric chair seats inside with the, like with the thing they put on you to electrocute you.
Wow.
Yeah, just little stuff like that. It was amazing.
Well, it's freedom. Rat rods are freedom. Like, for me, my Camaro is going to be a rat rod, but it's not, like, in a way, like, when you see what I'm doing, it's definitely a rat rod. What I like about it is it's freedom. You do whatever you want to do. It's not like you have to follow, like even though with some of these cars you try to be different, you're still following kind of sort of like a plan that somebody else designed, however many years ago. Don't get me wrong, I love beautiful versions of beautiful cars, but when I see somebody that takes like shit, I saw something that was so interesting. That guy used I wish I could remember what it was, but it was like such a unique way of doing something. Like, you all see like the whiskey bottle that holds the antifreeze and stuff, but like along those lines. And there's things I've seen, and I'm like, that's awesome that you could take something that you like from your house and put on your car and it works. Like, some of them get too gadgety, like some guys have heads and stuff, they get like the cartoon cars. Those I don't necessarily like too much, but I also don't like the standards as much as I like that weird rat rod, like that old car that really would never think would be a rat rod, and then the guy does something slick to it, and then it turns into something. Because that's like what hot rodding really was. Like, you would take a stock car that wasn't that fast, and you would try to make it different. You put a big motor and try to make it fast. Like, that's what hot rodding to me was. So, but I grew up in the, I had like a 79 Camaro that my brother gave me. So those were like the cars I messed with. I would have rather been a kid of like the 40s and 50s with the T-bucket, with the raccoon thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're super interesting.
They sure are.
It lets a builder be expressive and unleash some of that creativity too. Because I know one of the things I do with my own car is in the winter, I was when I was building it, I wanted to use I took an MSD box and took it apart, gutted it, and sectioned it, and figured out how to weld it back together. And I used it to hide my heater valve for the AC. But I mounted it on the firewall right in line with the valve cover because the fins kind of lined up. So it almost looked like a continuation. And, people look at it, and every once in a while people ask, but I thought, there's like 20 hours into that stupid thing. I mean, But it was like day and day after work, going out in the garage and just playing with it, filing it, not getting it right, doing it again. And, it was more therapy than anything.
Yeah. Well, you know what? There's people that will appreciate the simple things, and then some people, like, I may walk up and be like, oh, what'd you do there? Oh, that's awesome. I love it. And then I'll be thinking about it. And that'll inspire me
to
Yeah.
do
You
something.
know, when I'm thinking about doing something a little wacky, I'll think about what you told me now and be like, oh yeah, that guy did that. You know what I mean? So like,
Right.
that's what I like to see. I'd rather see that because to me, when you do something like that, you're inviting me into your mind a little bit, into how you think,
Yeah.
which that's interesting to me. Like when you see a car that's like, you know, body kit and it's got the wheels that you're supposed to get and the seats you're supposed to get and the tint, that's all great. But that's like, might as well be a stock car, right?
Okay,
It's
so
like
that-
that,
Yeah, you're right.
you know?
You're right. Because
So
you
when
can look under that hood and you
Yeah.
can you know every catalog that everything came out of, and you're like, okay, here's another one of those. You know, beautiful car, but you know, when you look at the one that the 18-year-old kid built, like, and you say, yeah, it kind of has my attention because like, what did he do here? You know?
Yeah. Well, when we did the flex thing, right? One of the challenges, it was a show for ESPN that we won. It was like a build off. Like that was the truck we spent a ton of time in. And you know, like one of the challenges was a steering wheel. I don't know if shoot. I don't know. I wish I could find a picture. But so basically one of the challenges was you had to have a custom steering wheel. In a 2007 Ford Expedition. That's like I always thought the people that put these rules together didn't understand how complicated the steering is. It's not easy just to go buy a wheel for that. You could do it in a Camaro with Jamel. So you know, I was in a room where there was people smoking something, and I think I caught a little bit of a contact. And I have nothing against it, but it used to make me anxious. So, but I started thinking about the steering wheel, and I'm like, what are we going to do for a steering wheel? And I started thinking, I'm like, well, these guys are probably going to go out and buy a Grant or Billet Specialties and put it inside of an Expedition. It's probably not going to match, but they're going to do it just because it's a challenge. Yeah. So I started drawing up and sketching a wheel. So we made like a Batman wheel out of 3-inch plexiglass. And then we took the faceplate of the radio and we wired I took the faceplate apart and I soldered everything.
There you go.
And I went through the airbag clock spring. And I actually had enough wires to go through and light up the wheel also. So I got all the radio functions to work. And then I lit up the wheel with a blue LED. And it spun. Like a lot of guys that put TVs in steering wheels, they got to unplug it and then turn it. And then like to me, that's cheating, you know?
Yeah.
So we did the steering wheel. Then we had like a fiberglass cover. It had airbrushed wood grain that matched the dash. It just fit perfect. And then when the other team saw it, they were just like, oh my God, it was like the nail in the coffin. But to me, that was like my best part. Well, one of the best parts, but it was like I had a chance to be totally creative because I was kind of forced to. Right. Like I wouldn't have probably touched the steering wheel that bad if it wasn't a challenge, you know? So,
right.
But you know, that gets to look into my brain, how my brain was thinking at the time. And my style's changed since then, but I still love it. You know, I still, like I said, I still love lowriders. You know, I'd put hydros in a car tomorrow, you know, if you know, which I might because I know my daughter would love it. I don't know if my girl would or my neighbors would, but you know.
Yeah. I'm thinking of doing something with my steering wheel with controls and stuff. And I might go to the junkyard and just take a couple columns apart and see how it works and kind of get a idea of what I'm looking for. You know what I mean?
Anything with an airbag in it has to communicate, and especially if you get something that has a lot of like steering wheel controls. Really, all you're doing is them miking up from here to here. You know?
Yeah.
As long as you're not pulling too much voltage, that more than what that would take. You know, so you may have to like. In other words, you might not be able to go direct wire with something. You may have to do it through a panel of relays to make something work correctly without burning up a wire in between there.
Right.
Because I don't know, you know, some of those you'd have to gauge and how strong you think it could be. But when we pulled that off, man, I was like, it's gonna be hard to top that steering wheel, you know. And guys did that. They went out. They went to Summit. You know, it is what it is, you know. So
there's a company out there now that makes a controller network for a car. It's a CAN bus, but it's just an aftermarket CAN bus. And I think that may be the way to go with something like that because it's all small signal stuff.
Yeah. You still got to get through the wheel though. That's all you're really worried about, right? But that clock spring and that, you know, that circuit in there that spins, that's all I really need. And that's what's nice about some of these older cars that like the technology. I remember when me and my buddy, he had someone was giving him a wrecked Grand National, and he had a mint Chevette his neighbor was giving him. And I was like, we should put the motor from this car in there, but didn't have the computer, didn't have the harness. And then when we start talking to people about like how to get it to run and tune the turbo and all that, because I didn't know anything about turbos, which, you know what, if I spoke to the right people, they may have been able to do it cheap. But back then, a computer was thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So it made a really fun little project. Like, think about a Grand National motor and a Chevette. I mean, it would be scary, but it'd be fun as hell, you know? But now you could get a standalone computer, you know, I'm guessing $1,000. You could probably get something that could, you know, get a car to go down the street.
Mm-hmm.
So technology is interesting, you know. It's
yeah,
and it's funny because these kids now that work on these cars, they're on their laptop.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm just like, where's the wrench? You know,
yeah.
Can't take it away. Some of these young kids are doing some cool things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, that's why I love SEMA, seeing these young ideas. You know, somebody like I mentioned it before, but you'll get somebody that paints a car lime green with orange wheels that you think would sound horrible.
Yeah.
But you see it and you're like, oh, shit, that took balls to do, and it looks good, you know?
Yeah. Yep. That's true. Yeah, I'm putting myself in a rabbit hole with this Cadillac, I think. But you know what? At the end, I'm doing it all myself, you know what I mean? And it's gonna be mine and the way I want it.
Yeah. You gotta put yourself in a hole though. That's the only way to do it.
Yep.
I remember I cut a floor out of a Trans Am because I ordered a fuel cell that was too big, so I was stupid. So I ordered this 22-gallon fuel cell, right? The thing's huge. And the trunk for the Trans Am is like this big, the opening. Like there's room in there, but the opening's like this. It was like, you know, like the square peg through the round hole. It was like,
get it in, yeah.
Wouldn't work.
That's
So
funny.
I look at my friend and I said, well, I think I'm going to cut the floor out of the car first, and then I have to fix it. And my friend's like, no, bad idea. Don't do it. I'm like, I take the stove, I whack the whole floor out. And then I sit back and I start looking at the problem I made, because making that problem forced me to find a solution.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the best form of motivation is being screwed. Like, no, you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You got to put the floor back in.
Right.
Are you going to weld in the factory floor back in and feel like a dummy that you cut it, or are you going to just try to figure something out?
Yep.
And then we figured it out. And it's funny because I saw that car like 17 years later. It must have changed. I gave it away to a kid. I saw some other kid driving it, and I said, hey, it was a wide body Trans Am. And I walk up to him and I said, holy shit. I said, this car have a fuel cell? Because I wanted to make sure it was mine. He said, yeah, you know. Then we just talked about it. It was like a handful of things that kid didn't know about it. But, you know, I've been famous for screwing myself. And then some of them don't work out good and I'm just screwed, you know. It's like, all right, let's not do that one again, you know.
I think you're right. You said that should be on a T-shirt, that being screwed is the best way to be motivated, because you got to get out of it.
Yeah, you have no choice.
Yeah.
And that's like with all this TV shit. Like, it's great. I enjoy it. It's fun. But when you say yes to, like, Chip Foose, I'm going to be there to do a car for you, that's real easy to say. But then you got to show up and you got to do it. And no matter what, you have to finish.
Yeah.
Or you're going to regret it for the rest of your life.
Right. Professional life.
You know, like a lot of people will say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I'm like, that's cool. Great. I'm support everybody. Do what you want to do. Follow your dreams. But keep in mind, like, you can't just say yes without having, without having the determination behind you. To say, once I say yes, I'm going 1,000 miles an hour and nothing is going to stop me from finishing.
Your commitment.
And, sometimes that's not easy to do. I mean, there have been times on builds where I wanted to cry, I'm just like, totally defeated. And then you take a breather and then you get back on the horse. And that's kind of been like my motto for life lately. Like, I used to let things mess with me too long. And I'd be like, now I'm like, okay, if I have a problem, it's a problem for today. Go to sleep tomorrow, wake up and find a solution. Where I used to dwell and start going backwards, worried about nonsense, So
right.
That's the learning process, and it's a growth process too. That's good. It's good.
Yep. So I'm working on, in my mind, I'm working on the interior, because I'm doing some custom interior stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
do some hard leather. That's why I tried to do that.
Yeah,
cool with that leather, man. That's awesome. Why don't you build a rat rod with your wife? I'm gonna get you in trouble here. Do a rat rod with your wife, and you do the whole interior like that hard leather look, like, like that. That'd be nice.
Yeah, she just said the other day that she wants one. So now I got,
Any new thoughts on the dashboard, Lewis?
No, well, I think I'm going to. I've been trying to measure up different dashboards, and I can't find anything shallow enough for the Cadillac because I have a 77 coupe, and the dash is real shallow.
Yeah.
So any of the dashboards, the modern ones, are pretty deep, and I didn't realize that until Slick, Stitch from Slick, or Slick, yeah, Stitch from Slick. He was like, "Hey, man, your dashboard's kind of narrow." So he kind of put that in my head, and now I'm now looking. So I think I'm going to fiberglass everything.
Yeah, just build a dash.
Yeah, I'm going to build it with the console, and
Just build it.
and then I'm going to leather it up.
I'll tell you a funny story. My Corvette, like in that era, if you did a dash, that's what separated the men from the boys at a car show. Like if you have full dash, full interior, now people are really looking at you. And I had a pretty much brand new Corvette, and my nephew took a soldering iron that was hot and left it on the dashboard. Now it just melted the pattern of the soldering iron in the dash.
Cool.
Now talk about screwing yourself. Somebody else screwed me, but I looked at the dash and I was like, wow. I'm like, well, I guess we're taking the dashboard out. And that's what led to this crazy. I had a big giant dashboard and the center console. You put your arm into the shifter. And then I had a camera that would see your hand on the heater controls playing on the display. And it took a life of its own. But that was a situation I could cry. I could spend a whole shitload of money trying to just fix that shitty factory dash, or I could build one from scratch. Now, I mean, it was like, I don't know how many hours. It was insane. I mean, I felt like I worked on it forever. That was 6 months of every single day. But at the end of the day, when the car showed, it was like, because once you did the dash, you could not do the console. You could not do the doors. You couldn't, everything. So I would just build a dash for it, but just be prepared to build the door. Just build everything,
Yeah. That's where I'm heading. I've been doing a lot of research, and I'm heading for that.
If you need any advice, I'm here for you.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it. Believe me, I will call everybody.
Guys, man, you got a good group of people around you.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's what makes it easier for me to do stuff because, I talk to so many people. Like Ray, I asked some questions when I was doing my motorcycle. On wiring and stuff. So it gives you a more confidence because you have people that can help.
Yeah, backup is important for all of us. We all lean on somebody.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, everyone that thinks they know everything is either they're just silly. Yeah. Most people that think they know everything and they don't want to ask for help. And like, I'll listen to anybody, like legitimately anybody. If someone has an idea, my ears are open because sometimes it's the point of view that they're looking at something. Like, I have Justin and Melanie in the shop with me, and they both have like a different way of looking at things sometimes. And it inspires me in a way like to step back and say, okay, all right, I see what you're saying. Or, and that's important to have a team around you like that can let you be versatile and challenge you a little bit. Like if you're just yourself and it's just you in a garage, sometimes you can, and which is fine. It's fun. Sometimes I love it. But I don't care how good you are, you're never as good as you and a few people. Yeah,
exactly.
Like if 5 people looking at something, you may go, oh, this, oh, yeah. And then sometimes it's just a collaboration of all those ideas,
it clicks.
And it just clicks and that works. So that's, like I've always, like, people that really don't know me thought I was more like the opposite side of the guy, like, me. And like, I've had all my guys on cover magazines with me, and you see like behind us right there, the poster of us, that's Mel and me and Justin. That's actually right there. I don't know if this is lining up, but that's Maya from Ice Road Trucker. She was hanging out with us for a little while, and she's super cool. So, it's just having cool people around you, and I think, what you guys been doing for the last few years, you definitely have a good network, started and going,
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'd like to get her on the show too, if you can connect me up with her.
I can talk to her 100%. Yeah, she's super busy, but I'll definitely reach out. She's cool. She's got her way of and I've known Maya for a long time, and she's a tough girl. She's cool. You'll definitely.
Cool.
You may have to bleep her a little bit, but
That's right. No bleeping here. We're free floating.
she's cool. Her husband's cool. We're friends with both of them. You know, they're good people.
Yeah. I went over to my buddy's. He has a sign shop, so I went over there today and hung out. And I always go to him because he'll give me a different outlook on something. I'll say, "Hey, I'm doing this project," and he'll say, "Well, what about this?" And I'm like, "Wow, he just solved a problem that I had for a week trying to figure out." And just one little thing, one little thing will throw you into the right boat.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, you know, luckily my career, I've had a lot of different people that work with me, and you know, it's weird because like my personality is powerful, but I don't mean it to be. But like, I'm so passionate about what I do that sometimes I get into like autopilot, and I always have to remember, like, you know, slow down and listen. And listen, if I'm right about something, I'll stand on it. I'll be like, no, bullshit, this is the way to do it. End of it. You know, but you know, I'll first always listen, and more often than not, I'll even have to go back and say, you know what you said about this or that stuck in my head, and now it's changing the way I think about, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But that's like a team thing. Like that's, you know, what I love about having a team. I love being checked a little bit. I love a different, you know, eyeball on something. Like it's happened to me a million times. Like I'm working on something, it's a major problem, it's a pain in the ass, but then somebody will walk up and go, "Why don't you just do this?" I'm just like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that'll work too."
Yeah,
easy, quick 1, 2, 3 thing. But it's funny.
Sometimes you get pissed though. You're like, "Oh man, I can't believe he just."
Yeah. Well, it's funny because it's actually something, you know, not to bring up his name, but you know, I was fishing with Paul Senior and Nick, right? And we were in my shitty little rowboat, and I have like all these gadgety things made for my boat. Like I'll spend $1.50 on parts to make a rod holder, you know, or I'll spend $20 on all the parts to buy something that's $5, right? Because I like building stuff. And my boat's like got cup holders and wood. It's not pretty at all. It's just totally like used for fishing in lakes. And he's in the boat and the seat's wobbly and all this. And he turns around and he's looking at something I made. He picks it up and he goes, "You're just like me. You'll spend 100 hours trying to build something you could buy for $10. Yeah. And I was like, it was good to hear it from him, you know, because he's still, you know, he still has that mindset.
I think that's a trait that follows through because we all kind of do that. And I know Lewis has done it. I know I've done it too. And I laugh. I'm like, what did I just do? I could have saved so much time by going to the store. But it's like, I take a piece of scrap and like
you get on Amazon, have it at your door tomorrow. You know,
exactly. Yeah. That's not what it's about, though. It's not what it's about.
Well, you know what? You can't replace the feeling, as far as I'm concerned, and what my whole life is about. I had a lot of opportunities to get out of this business or go run, manage, and work for companies and stuff. You can't replace the feeling of doing something with your hands and actually making something work. Yeah. You know, you just can't replace that feeling when something like I guess people call it like a flow state, but when you're like everything's clicking, everything you're doing is making sense, and this design happens to work with this design because subconsciously they're both in your head, and they come out, and this one comes out, and then you're like, oh shit, they work together. Now you take a 10 and a 10, now it's a 50 instead of a 20 because it's, you know, it's like symbiotic, if that's the right word.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just, you get, you know, you can't replace that feeling, but and that's like in everybody's life. It doesn't have to be building cars. You know, you could be working on motorcycles or building model planes or, you know, so when you pull something off, it's good for your heart. It's good for your soul.
Yeah.
You know, I see a lot of people that just do like, you know, like the cookie cutter, work in a cubicle. Like I couldn't do that. I just could not. Do it. I'd rather be a homeless person working on cars than be rich but have to sit behind a cubicle for 10 hours a day.
The only thing that eclipses what you were describing for me is, and probably for you guys too, is if you can take that knowledge that you got and then teach it to somebody else and watch them use it. Yeah. You know, I know, like with my own kids, I told them, my daughter co-hosted with me on my radio show this past week because I needed a hand. And I explained to her, I said, you know, when the best thing for a parent is when they, you tell things to your kids, you preach, you teach. I said, but when you hear them say it to somebody else or repeat it some way, I said, that's it. There's your payoff. It's like a ching. It's amazing. That's what you can't
love-
imagine how good that is.
I love the idea of teaching. Like I have taught some classes here and there, and when I'm done with this, I'm going to open up a school, like to teach paint, to teach interiors, teach everything I know how to do. Because it's a shame. Like we knew a dude recently that passed away who was a really talented guy, and it was such a shame because like all his skill and all his talent just disappeared. Not to say he didn't teach anybody; he probably did, working through people and that. But for me, like there's only a certain point that like I want to stop working on, maybe work on a couple projects for SEMA, and then the rest just teach. And I'm probably a better teacher than I would have ever expected myself to be. But I think I'm really good at I'm really good at getting back to where I remember where I didn't know what I was doing and what it took to really understand it. So, but I'm very hands-on. Like I'll sit with, like I taught a couple dudes that were, I would say, maybe they were 4s on a scale of 10, right? They kind of knew what they were doing, but they were making some mistakes. And I took someone that had a little bit of experience, or even none at all, but a little bit interest, like someone getting their hands dirty. And I took them from a 4 to like a 9. And I mean, like in a week, they became so much more powerful in their market. Like they were sending me things like, "Oh my God, you got to see what I just did." And like once we were working together, I got better. That's what I feel selfish about, because I got better. Because as I'm teaching them, I'm not learning too. I'm just thinking about the process, and then I'll start to like fine tune the way I do things right in front of them. And I'm like, and I'll tell them, "Oh shit, I didn't see that, but you know what? You could do it like this. Is even better." So I gain from it as much as they do. I get a lot from it too. And again, to spread your knowledge, like I have my daughter, she's 6, and I want her to do whatever she wants to do. I don't want to push her into a car field, obviously, but if she wanted to, great. But I just want to get behind her. I want to make sure she does what she loves, because I think that's the secret to life. The secret to success is really doing something that you care about. Life's too short to not do it, as far as I'm concerned.
That's right.
Yeah, it sure is. I was just telling somebody the other day that if I died today, I've done a lot of stuff that I wanted to do. And I'm happy with it. You know what I mean? And, people always ask me, how do you have time to do this and that and this? I'm like, listen, we're here for a reason, and we all have talents. You got to find it. So I'm looking for my talent. I'm trying everything possible, what I mean, to find it. I might not have found it yet, but.
Well, you know what it is too? Well, no, I mean, but this and the leather and the magazine, those are all, but it sucks in the beginning, like when you're trying to learn something, you gotta be willing to put in thousands of hours of screwing things up. And, it's like funny. I've said, I think in the other podcast, like, my office has magazines and pictures and all cool things I've done. But, I always say the same thing on different podcasts. If you would take all my screw ups and take a picture of them, you could line the streets of my neighborhood here. But again, like, like I don't look at it as screwing something up as like it's never affected. I never felt like failure, even when someone else was trying to make it feel like failure, because people will try to make you like, you go out on a limb and try something, and then you screw up, and then there's always somebody like, I knew you were going to screw up. You screwed that up pretty bad. But like to me, in my head, I'm like, yeah, but now I know what not to do. And the next time I'm probably going to get it right. And if not that time, the time after that, I'll get it right. Or the time after that, I'm going to get it great. I think people are scared of failure. To me, it's like, when I screw something up really good, I laugh at it. I'm like, wow, that was bad. Okay, that's a good one.
That was a really good one. When I was working on my motorcycle, I had a couple neighbors come over, and they seen it all tore apart. They was like, "Oh, you're never gonna get that back together." And I had my wiring harness hanging on the wall, and I got diagrams everywhere. And they're like, "Oh, you're never gonna fix that. You never, just throw it away." So when I go to these shows now, and I'm getting trophies, those same people are like, "Man, I can't believe you together." And I'm like, "Hey, you motivated me." And they're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "By you saying I wasn't going to be able to do it, kept me put." My wife wouldn't let me back in the house. She told me to go back out and finish it because I gave up a couple times. You know what I mean? And hey, well, it turned out okay.
the people around you is so bad. Like somebody put here, so many are jealous and put others down. It's a sad attempt to elevate themselves. Lee Morgan. That's so true.
Yeah.
Like when people are shitting on you, they're just kind of forwarding how they feel about themselves. And like to me, I'm like, I don't know if I heard it somewhere, but my thing has always been like, tell me what you can't do. Don't tell me what I can't do. Because if I put my mind to something, I'm gonna go until I die. If that's what I have to do, it's what I have to do. And you got to be willing to pay that price. But what's really funny is all the pain and the stress and the all the bad feelings that come with, like when you're in the middle of a stressful project or something shitty or timeline. When you win something or something works or it gets here, it gets there. When you're
100%.
done, you forget all those bad feelings. So it's really just like, I got to hang on in this mountain until I get to the top. So when I get to the top, there's no more mountain to climb.
Right.
You know, so she's so right. There's more people that are negative that will try to keep you down, because if they keep you down and you don't do nothing, well, then it's okay for them to do nothing.
Yep.
But when you do something big, they get like, and I've had it happen with good friends. I hate to say it. And I've spoken to it with celebrities and people I know now pretty close. And I've been like, some people gotten weird around you, and some people, you got some people that support you 100% and love to see you drive. And then some people will get like insecure people. They are like the worst people to have on your side. Like I've learned now, like there's some people I just shed from my life. Even like people I was kind of friends with and other shops. And there's just some things out there that like the insecurity or the negativity, it was just like, it was almost like a drug, like a bad drug. And if you're next to that person too long, you're never going to grow.
Yep.
Okay. I have a guy that I work with for many years. I love him. We get along great now. But when we were working together, I was miserable and I liked him. We got along. I cared about him. I'd fight 20 people for him right now and then. But working together, it was a negative, always angry, always wanting to fight. And like my thing, and not him, I mean like us together, we would just be like wanting to kill each other. And I started to realize that my focus started to become about me being mad at him. And now I'm not thinking about trying to be better every day.
Yeah.
You know, and we work once in a while together. We're good like a day or so, 2 days, and that's it. We can't see each other. You know, like some people are better off in small doses. You know, I still love them. I'll go fishing with them. But it's better now that we're not like every single morning seeing each other, you know.
Yeah.
So, but you know, then there's just some people that that just can't help being negative. They only see the glass is half empty.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not like that. If anything, I'm dangerously optimistic. My optimism has got me in more trouble than anything. Because I always think, we can do it. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
Do it.
That's
you know,
true.
and sometimes you're like, oh shit, why did I say that? Or why did I do that? You know?
You know, I always throw this phrase out. Miserable people, their job is to make you miserable. So if you smile and shake your head, then you can make them a hater also.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's sad. It's funny because there are some people that I knew like growing up, friends of friends, Facebook and stuff, that were real car guys. And like some of the cool things you'd expect, like, wow, man, really great. I'm happy for you. That was cool. I like this. I like that. I don't like that. And you don't hear nothing. But then when something has nothing to do with cars, you'll hear them say something. And it's almost like their silence is deafening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to me, I like to see everyone around me do good. Even if I don't know you that well. If I see someone I don't know, but they're chasing like a dream or a passion, that like infects me. Like I love it. Like I will do anything for someone to support someone chasing something they love to do. Because I love to see people in that environment, because that's really where you like grow and you like that's what life is. That moment, like you becoming, and not necessarily even what you're doing. Like it doesn't matter if it's a Chevelle or it's like a birdhouse or a motorcycle or leather, you know. But what you're doing, that's like living. Like to me, that's what life is, you know. And when I see people that shy away from that, I'm like, wow, that's sad that you don't want to take the chance to mess up. but
Yeah.
you're so afraid of it. You know what I mean? And but people like that, man, I used to hold on, and I was like a fixer, and I would try to fix every relationship and take this person's downside and try to flip and find the good side.
Mhm.
Finally, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to spend time with people that I appreciate, that inspire me, that make me laugh, that I'm happy. Like, I got to be with people sometimes 5-10 hours a day, sometimes more. I want to like those people. I want to get along with them and
Oh, yeah.
not have drama and bullshit. And
Yep.
so, you know, it's interesting to say the least.
It really is. Yep.
But those people, man, you got to shake them out of your life. If I have one piece of advice, is and that could be family. That doesn't have to be just a friend.
Mhm.
Sometimes your family will shit on you harder than anyone else, and it hurts because you take their opinion so much deeper.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
a stranger walks up to you and says, "You suck, you're horrible, you're going to fail," you're like, whatever, some stranger. But if your sister or your brother or your mother or your uncle, that shit hurts. And like, when I got started, I shouldn't say no one believes me, but everyone's like, "What are you doing in your garage, bro? Like, what are you doing?" When other people, like, you know, I went to college, but there was people like going 4-year degrees and doing this and doing that. And, you know, some of those same people, like when I got on TV, which is so funny because that little thing, like like overhauling or whatever it was, like any of those things, they mean so much to other people. Like, I use it because it's part of business and you're stupid not to, right?
Mhm.
But like, to other people sometimes, like the same people that said, "Oh man, I always knew you'd make it." I'm like, no, you didn't say that to me.
Yeah.
I was probably not going to make it. And that doesn't mean I made it. That's the misconception. Like, just because you saw me on TV,
Yeah.
you know, that doesn't mean I made it, because that means I'm done. Like, I still want to do other things.
Yeah.
But it's so funny, the perception, you know, it's just like, it's
Well, that's just the yardstick they use to measure you by, you know.
yeah.
Yeah. Entertainment. Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Finding good people in this world, seeking out good people, and then when you find them, you know, holding on to them and keeping them in your life and being really good. Like, I used to be good to everybody. Now I'm like, I'll be good to the people that are good to me.
Yeah.
And that's it. And if you're shitty to me, I'm just not gonna. There's no effort. Why put the effort in? Because you know, someone that's gonna be shitty to you now will probably be shitty to you in 5 years.
Mhm.
Yep.
Like, I really don't believe people change their stripes too much. I've never seen anyone change. I've seen people stop smoking and people stop bad habits, but as far as personality, you know, someone that's going to shit on you now, probably going to shit on you in 5 years. So when you're working on something, for me, you want to be in an environment where it's all positive vibes. I want all like, yeah, let's get this done. This is how we can do it. And sometimes you see like, well, I don't know. I'm like, oh my God. Like, to me, that's like, is poison. So I used to try to spend my time trying to convince them and win them over. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I know what I want to do. I know my vision. I know what I want to do. I'll take advice. Let's do it as a team. But if you're going to be a shitty member of that team, now you're shitting on the whole team. You know, you're not just shitting on me.
Yep.
If there's 6 people and you're the pissy one that's looking for problems, you're poisoning everybody's mind. So just get rid of that weak link, I say. So.
Yeah. I listened to Dave Ramsey. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's a financial guy, helps you get out of debt and debt free and stuff. But
I need to listen.
Oh man, his name Dave Ramsey. He's no joke.
He's good.
But he says he has a policy in his organization. I don't know. He probably has a couple hundred people working, but any gossip, you're fired.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right off the bat.
Yeah.
Because it just
Good
brings
policy.
negativity and
good policy.
Yeah. Yep.
The worst thing you can do to me is roll your eyes.
Yeah.
I'd rather you throw a wrench across the shop, hit me in the head, than roll your eyes. I swear to God on my life. I could get over someone getting in my face and getting like, I'm going to, if it's for the right reason, you know, if they're upset about something.
Yeah.
But when someone goes, forget it. And that's in everyone. That's in my whole life. That's my relationship at home. That's with my friends. That's in the shop. But in the shop, it's good.
Everybody has a trigger.
Yeah. I had a kid roll his eyes at me and he said, I said, what are you doing? And he goes, oh, work smarter, not harder. And he rolled his eyes. I was like, you're fired. You're done. Yeah. I like you as a person, but that shit don't fly. They're rolling your eyes shit. But I also grew up around body shop guys that, you know, managers that treated you like garbage. They didn't care. care if you were happy. He didn't care if someone in your family died. There was none of that. It was just like, sand that car. And when you're done, sand that car. When you're done with that, sand that car. If you have anything to say, you could go home. That was it. Simple.
Yeah.
You know?
Simple.
So, like, I never wanted to be like that. You know, I never wanted to be like that type of person when I was in charge of people. I don't even like the word boss. I really don't look at it like that. I look like we're a team. I just hated that. I never wanted to be like, I never got like excited about like being like somebody's boss. I just never liked the feeling of it. I like the feeling of a team, people working together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I've worked for bosses, people that just treat you like a piece of garbage. You know, I remember like wanting to strangle my boss, like literally wanted to choke bosses of mine because they were just so mean and shitty. But when you see them working with 20 guys in a shop, you kind of have to be that, because if you start being a nice guy, all those guys will shit on you in the business. Right. So now I can kind of see it from both points of view, but there's a line.
There's a line, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Now, I had a partner in one of my businesses, and he was the type that I'm the boss, you do what I say, and blah, blah, blah. And he was mad because the employees would come to me for advice and not him. I'm like, because you're an idiot. I mean, you're mean. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm trying to teach the guys. It was a repo company, so I'm trying to teach the guys how to get it done and
not get shot,
and how to be a part of the team. You know what I mean? You work here, you're on commission just like I'm on commission. You know what I mean? So let's help each other and do it. But my partner was, I'm the boss and you got to do it like this. And I'm like, hey, man. And it failed. You know, I sold my end to him and I left. And all the guys came with me to my trucking company.
Yeah.
And he's like, why are they all leaving? Because you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to listen. There's just there's a respect. Like, I'm really big with respect and loyalty. The two best things you could have. You could have a million other problems, but if you treat me with respect and you're loyal to me, I could overlook a lot of problems.
Yeah.
You know, friends, like I've had friends of mine, we've been friends 30 years. We never talk once disrespectful to each other. And then I've had friends that they have one sip of beer and all of a sudden they're calling you an asshole. So, you know, for me, I think respect is something that you're taught as a kid. Like I was taught, you know, to a degree respect. Like me and my mother fought like crazy, but there was still a respect to a degree there. You know, there's still, you know, but when someone's disrespectful to someone else, it's just like, how do you come back? I can't come back from it. It's hard for me. Like I could try to say I can, but if someone gets on me for something that isn't, whether it's a boss or someone else or partner or friend, when someone crosses the line with me with respect, I go, and that burns into my brain, and that's always there, no matter what.
Yeah.
You know, so I would rather sit down and talk, you know, but being in the so-called leadership position, especially with a group of guys, you'll get a whole group of guys try to take you down too. And I'm like, I've had to be like, listen, don't take my kindness for weakness. Like I could be as nasty as I want to be, but I choose to be nice and let's talk and let's figure things out. And then some people are like, well, I could do, and I'm like, oh God, like I could be nasty too. I could be scary nasty. But I don't want to do that. You know, I just want to try to talk and work things out. Yep. I feel like this: if two people have the same goal, whether it's everyone, right? We're all here. We have the same goal. No matter what problems we have, there is a solution if all of us want to find a solution. But if you don't want to find it and he does, me and him are going to get along and we're going to talk. And you're like, no. Then that's just poison. It just never works.
Yep.
So
that's true.
Very true. Words to live by, man.
Yep. All right. Well, it's 10:24, 25 now.
I was gonna just say I gotta get cracking. So are you guys all coming out to SEMA? Is Lou coming?
Yeah, I am. Lou will be out there.
What's up with Tori? I was trying to get him to come out there. I told him you could drag him out. Is he coming to SEMA this year?
I don't know. He's I don't know. he says he wants to, but I don't know if he's going or not.
I think I gotta get ready. Pick him up, throw him in the plane with me, and fly out there.
Yeah, the flights are cheap, man. Spirit, you can get out there for cheap.
Yeah. 100%. Well, that's like I said. I remember meeting you guys out there last year, and it was.
Yeah.
I had your card, and then I started following and listening, and it's cool, man.
We appreciate it. I'm gonna try to get a day where we can all maybe meet for breakfast or
That'd be
lunch
cool.
or something. So probably in a couple of weeks.
Are you going to be over with Nelson a little bit?
Yeah. I'll be at. I'm staying with his group of rooms. You know, he got all those rooms.
Okay, cool.
So
Yeah, we're going to be out there 100%, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, so I'm gonna talk to Nelson to see. We can go to a restaurant across the street next to Denny's. I forget the name of the restaurant. Shoot, it's like in between.
I know what you're talking about. It's a weird place. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's
so
like it's in the parking lot, but set back a little.
Yep.
Between the Circus and the convention center.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I think I'm gonna try to set up something where maybe we can meet for dinner, or one day after SEMA, maybe Wednesday or Thursday. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be great. I look forward to seeing everybody.
Yeah, I want to get all the Playing the Traffic people and any of the guests that's ever been on. I'm trying to get everybody to go there, and just so we can meet and greet, do some stuff.
100%. Yeah, I'm down, man. I'm down. I got a lot going on, but I'm floating around. Just catch me. You got my number. You can text me when I get out there. I know we're doing. We're going to be doing a couple of our own podcasts, like just trying to. I shouldn't say podcast, but just trying to interview a few people out there.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we could kind of flip that on you and sit down and catch you and.
Okay.
And try to get the guys in, and we're going to be doing something with Jeff Allen, over at the Pennzoil thing, and it's just fun, man. And then just shake hands and walk around, just enjoy it. I know next year I'm going to be, it's going to be nuts. So this year I'm going to be like, okay, let's smell the roses and look at all the cars and talk to people and try to make some new relationships with companies because. Now with this car coming, I'd really like to find some more sponsors. Like I have a handful. I got with Nitrous Express.
Mm-hmm.
We got Arrow Racing Wheels. We got a handful of people. DLS Cardio, obviously Boss Hog, Hushmat and Zycoat. We're going to be there with them too. Tim's awesome. You should really have him on your podcast. He's the owner of Hushmat Products, and he also has Zycoat.
He has what?
Zycoat, which is the new spray on.
Okay.
I have some here. It's somewhere. It's a spray on heat coating that's amazing. It's killer.
What?
And he's one of the sponsors. We were supposed to be there this year, so hopefully next year we're there with him. And he has soundproofing. He's a really interesting dude. You should definitely try to get him on here and get him.
If you can.
People, I'll put you guys. Yeah, he's been.
Yeah,
a long-time industry friend. Is funny. He supported me back when we did the Car Wars with the Funkmaster Flex and ESPN and all that. Mm-hmm. So it's great. Even DLS. There's a new owner of DLS, and that was one of the people I did my Corvette with. And now this Corvette, the one over my shoulder, and now I'm working with him again on a new car. He's his name is Per. I don't know how to pronounce it. He'll get mad at me, but I'm not going to mess his name up. But he's got they got amazing products. Their audio stuff is like. Out of control. It's the best stuff I've ever used, hands down.
Really?
And we're working with him again. So, there's a lot. There's a lot going on. So, I'm going to shake some hands and try to get some more people interested in this build. So I don't have to go as broke as I am building the car.
Well, yeah. Let us know too because we have a couple connections here and there that we might be able to, cross reference.
Yeah, we're going to be trying to do some TV stuff. I mean, we're shooting stuff now for our own thing, but there's something that may be coming up, which is going to put that on hold. But, as I know, I'll let you guys know. Hopefully there's some cool things coming down the pipeline.
All right. Sounds good.
Awesome.
Everybody in the chat room, appreciate you once again.
Yep.
And if you have any ideas for us, let us know. You can hit me on Facebook or anywhere. You know where to find me. Send any information of people you might want on the show, and we'll try to get them on. And Ed, man, we really appreciate you coming on again.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime. Oh, Ed also said that he would come on and be a guest host if we ever need him. So
absolutely, yeah, it'd be fun.
Yep. So everybody, hit like and share on YouTube so you can get notified when we do something hot. And SEMA, we're going to be doing a lot of interviewing. We're going to hit a lot of stuff. So keep an eye out for that. And I guess that's it.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Appreciate you. Everybody have a good night.
Yep.
All
Take
right.
care.
See you next week.
Take care, guys.